What's up, everybody? Today we're talking about the top 10 most RIP LD lightnings that you can summon from an LD scroll. Now, disclaimer before we get started, because I know every time I do one of these videos, the comment section is always like,
Bagel, I saw Mr. Flippity Floppity Flu's YouTube channel, and he was using that monster you said was bad, and he did like 100 damage, and then he was like, wow, OMG, so how you saying it's bad if Flippity Floppity Flu did it, and they think it's good?
guys, I am aware of Mr. Flippity Floppity Flu and Mr. Bibbity Bobbity Boo and Mr. Schmibbity Schmobbity Schmoo, and I've seen all their channels. I am aware of the units that they use. It's easy to go through, and I'm telling you from experience, it's easy to go through and try to make a unit look good that's really not that crazy, and like, oh my god, edit it together, take all the poo-poo stuff and make it look good, right? So I'm aware of that. And also some things are gimmick, right? Some things are gimmick. You can use anyone. You can argue that anything in this list you can use here and there as a gimmick with this, gimmick with that. I'm aware. I know. Baby, Habibi, I know that you can use all of these units here and there. But generally speaking, these are the more RIP less usable than other units. Like if you get, for example, a frigate or a beta, like you're going to be using that thing all the time, right? And we're also making the assumption that like LD Nat 5's are at least usable as a trophy and more likely to get buffed or changed even if they're not super crazy. So the rips are more the 4-star things that are Hall of Heroes that you really are never going to build or use, right? So that's where we're talking about the most RIP LD. Let's just get started with the list. Oh my god, it's like 2 minutes of me talk about bibbity bobbity boos. Let's just get started with the list. First on the list at number 10 is Einherry. Now, he probably would have been higher up on the list of like, oh, gross. But if I hadn't built him, if I hadn't gotten him, built him, used him, because there is ways around it, right? So he's got a speed lead, he's got an AoE, irresistible stun. Ooh, which is not bad, except that it will do the same thing to your team as well. And people talking about like getting around that, like, oh, you could just use a Gene, you could just use him with the Fire Monkey, like just use him with immunity. Just have immunity on your team. You can't use him with Tiana, but because then you're just gonna stun your team, and they're like, oh, okay. But you can use him with immunity. You can use him with other things like that to counter attack that. You still need a strip for the enemies, but he's not an unusable unit really. I really thought he was much worse than he actually is in practice. But there's ways of you just bring immunity for yourself, and there's ways of getting around his stipulation of he's gonna stun your team too. So he's not that bad. He's not super amazing, but I mean, like, you can still use Tyron in place of him. Tyron has a speed lead and he's got CC as well, so Tyron's just the stronger option. Why would you pick really Einherry instead of Tyron? But you could use Einherry. He's not super unusable, but then again, a lot of the stuff is not super unusable on here, but he's number 10. I'm gonna get so much crap for this. Number 9 is still in the Dark Elven Ranger. Before we get started, I already know what you're gonna say. Some people agree with me, some people disagree with me. I know what you're gonna say. You're going to cite several different influences. You're gonna say Shambi was using him like a budget Artemia. I know, I've tried that method before. Like I said, I built him, I've used him before, skilled him up completely, ruined him, everything. He's still ruined even. It's fun to use like as a budget Artemio. You could do the same thing with the Light Yeti. He's also a budget Artemio. And you're also going to reference Math Plus Games using him in Acropolis. Yes, that's the place that you use the Scyllin. But aside from that, like, he's not really usable everywhere. Like, you can use a lot of things in Acropolis. You don't need to summon an LD4 to use it in Acropolis. There's so many different things that you can use in Acropolis, right? So that's my argument there, is that yes, the Scyllin is good for Necropolis, but there's so many other things that are usable in Necropolis, and I would also argue the point that Math Plus Games could use anything in Necropolis and make it 13 seconds, right? That's the point, is that now people are gonna be like, is he really have a 13-second run? It's not a 13-second run, it's a 30-second, it's a 29-second run. That's not the point. The point is, yes, you can use him in Necropolis, but a Light Dark 4, like, he's not in the same level of like Beta. You see people doing gameplay, RTA, Guild Wars, Guild Siege with things like Beta, things like Frigate. Like, are you saying that Scyllin is on the same level as Beta and Frigate? You see here, go that with me. It's still in number 9. Not completely unusable. Again, this is not like a completely unusable monsters list. This is just a list of things that are less crazy OP and more like, rip. Could have been better. Could have been a frigate. Could have been, light dog boomerang or something like that. Number 8 on the list, Natalie the Light Assassin. So this one's actually deceptively close to being really good if she had some of the aspects of her sister. So the big thing about Natalie, she's got a defense break skill 1, she's got a brand skill 2, she's got a skill 3 where she does big single target damage. If she kills the unit, she will put a silence on the rest of the team. But here's the thing, like, you kill one thing and then you put a silence on the rest of the team. What about like the Dark Samurai who just kills the whole team? Right? You just AoE, blah, 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 blah. Don't quote me on that. You AoE and he kills the whole team. And remember, you still need attack buff, you still need a defense break on Natalie. She doesn't have any crazy high base speed or anything. So how does she compare to some of the other things? And she's a Hall of Heroes unit, they don't like to give us like the best super amazing Hall of Heroes unit. Now, she is actually pretty close to being really good. If she had the second skill of, for example, the Dark Assassin, where she self-buffs attack and crit, and then she gives herself another turn. Now we're talking, because then she already buffs herself. If she had the base speed of the Fire one, ooh, that's 117 base speed. So if she had those two from her sisters, she would be an awesome unit. She would be a really good unit. She wouldn't even be on this list. Because then she would have, you could stick her in with a Gemini, and she would do crazy things, right? So, potentially, like, could be much better than she is, but as it is right now, there's just a lot of other stuff. You really don't see a lot of Natalie gameplay. You see, like, other things used more than her, but, because she would still need to be, yeah, you just don't see too much Natalie stuff. Our first Hall of Heroes on the list. And the next Hall of Heroes on the list is Conrad the Light Death Knight. So Conrad's got a skill 1, he does heal block, skill 2 AoE, attack power break, and skill 3 does damage, and will either, it's weird, if you kill the enemy, he will revive an ally. He also does a shield if there's no one that needs to be revived. There's a Guild Siege defense team of Conrad, Orion, and Garrow that one of my guildmates has been running for a while, and it actually doesn't do that bad. But just in general, Conrad's, he's got a speed lead, but aside from that, he doesn't really do as much as he could, as he should, as many of the other units on the list. I think maybe his attack power, I don't remember what his attack power is off the top of my head, but I think his attack power may be lacking too. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember. I honestly don't remember his attack power. But Conrad is just, it's another Hall of Heroes, and it's another one that you don't see too much in the meta. He can be usable, but anything can be usable. So, number 7? Number 7 on the list. Number 6 on the list, he was almost too good though, right? Come to Us realized that he wasn't really that exciting, and then they buffed him, and then people were using him, because they buffed him too much, right? They buffed him too much, and then they had to roll him back. People were using him in the Rift Beast, he was doing crazy damage, way more than, because I think the multiplier, like, they made this crazy multiplier increase, and I'm like, did you mean to put those, is there extra, that's the big number. That's like, he was almost too good. And did crazy damage, and they had to actually roll him back to not being really anything too exciting, but they're still aware that not too many people are using him. This was wasn't this another Hall of Heroes? The dark one was a Hall of Heroes. Was the light one a Hall of Heroes too? Anyway, that's number 6 on the list. Number 5 on the list is Brig the Light Power Captain. I want to like this guy so much, right? He looks very cool. His transmogs are really cool. However, he only has a few niche spots in the game. So, skill 1, defense break. Skill 2 is absorb attack gauge, same as Galleon for skill 1 and 2. Skill 3, defense break, attack power break, and a block beneficial effects. So you're thinking about it, you're like, ooh, where could I use that? And also it does damage. Where could I use that? Oh, he seems like he could be a Theo killer. And he kind of is a decent unit against Theo Kamoon in Guild Wars, but aside from Guild Wars against that comp, he'll be much better. Here's the thing. He'll be really good if he did a strip into those three debuffs, and then damage on top of that, because then he would be an absolute Theoslayer beast. But he does the damage at the same time as the debuffs, so it's like, okay, it could be like a Daphnis situation if he did because Daphnis, all Daphnis needed was like a little strip and a defense break, and then he's like super OP now, right? So Brig is in the same situation. Like if they give him a strip into the debuffs into Big Nuke, then he's stronger than he's stronger than Daphnis at that point. Well, we're not gonna see that anyway, but he'd be really, really good there. So Brig has a few uses. One is against Theomars in Guild Wars. 2 is against the Light Lich, because he defense breaks and he also blocks beneficial effects. I mean, as long as it lands, right? Because usually people build Light Lich with a lot of resistance. Also in Giant Speed 10 for like a beginner. If a beginner has Brig and they're like, what do I gotta do with Brig? You can 5-star him, you can awaken him, you can use him in Giant Speed 10. This way, Giant has defense break, he has attack power break. Then he also has beneficial effect blocks, so the tower, the crystal can't put the attack power buff on him. So Brig is a usable unit in a couple different places, but really you don't ever see Brig in the meta. You don't really see too many people building him, too many people using him, even though he has a couple niche places, a couple niche things that he could do. That's why he's not like #1 in poo-poo on the list. But I'm just trying to play devil's advocate of saying like there's a couple play. Any of these units you could argue there's a couple places that you can use them, but yeah, not a very exciting unit to summon. Number 4, Dusky, the Dark Fart Boy. I don't like this guy. It looks like someone gonorrhea'd on his face. I don't like him. Okay, let's talk about his skills. His first skill is triple hit damage based on speed, and he's got a speed break for the enemy. Not bad for like Necropolis, right? Second skill is speed buff and crit rate buff. The first and second skills are the same as Chilling, right? But his passive is not the same as Chilling. Chilling passive strips with every attack. Dusky's passive is if he doesn't actually attack on his, I think it's if he doesn't attack on his turn, he will give himself a shield for 3 turns. So if he uses like his skill 2, he's gonna give himself a shield, and then he does extra damage when the shield is on him. But he really I built him. I built all this stuff and all these weird things, right? Because that's my job, is to build weird things. And I'm just like, every time I try to play with Dusky, I'm like, I wish I had like anything else. Like, these pumpkins aren't even the most meta-relevant units, just any of them, aside from Chilling. But the other ones are usable. Like, I built Dusky, I built Misty, I built Fluffy, I built Squibbles. What's Smokey, the fire one. Smokey's more usable than Dusky. I was actually able to use Smokey. I was actually able to kind of use the light one. Like, Dusky is just... But, I mean, these pumpkins really aren't, like, the most meta thing, so no one should be really surprised. Wasn't he All Heroes, too? I don't even remember. Like, just, like, I blocked that part out of my memory entirely. It's just, why wouldn't you use Chilling? And there's just so many better options for things. But Dusky, what is he, number 4? Number 4. Number 3, another Hall of Heroes unit, Talasha the Dark Undyne. So her first skill is a glancing, her second skill is an AoE that will reduce the enemy's attack gauge, and I think it heals one of your allies too. And then the third skill is a revive, which also, it's a revive with little HP, and it grants the ally a turn instantly. So instantly is different than filling up your attack gauge. I don't know if you remember Foix. Maybe some of you guys were newer and don't even know who I'm talking about. Foix was a really solid player. A good friend of mine as well. He used this Talasha gimmick team with, I think, Talasha and Camille's. Gives the unit. It basically, what she does is they kill them and then you bring them back with little HP. So this is a gimmick with something like Leo, Ramagos, Trevor, something like that, where they thrive on a little bit of HP. So Ramagos, you revive him with a little bit of HP, and he can clean shot the enemy. Leo will torrent if you revive him with a little bit of HP, because it'll be in that ignored defense range. Trevor will do more damage the less HP he has, so if you revive him with a little bit of HP, he'll do a bunch of damage. So, or at least more damage. He still won't have an attack power buff though. That's one of the things. So here's reviving with Camille's, and then Camille's would do his skill when it buffed and reflect damage, and then all the enemies would hit the thing and reflect the damage onto themselves and then kill themselves. That was kind of the gimmick team. But Talasha is just like a gimmick monster aside from that. Like, You can use her, but you have to set up the gimmick to work, and you have to hope that the enemy doesn't see it coming or be in like Guild Wars where they can't really do anything about it. But yeah, Talasha is... You see her when people are trying to do funny YouTube videos, and then... Aside from that, like, she's not really a meta-relevant unit. She was, again, I think she was a Hall of Heroes. I'm just assuming that everything on here is a Hall of Heroes, because it wasn't really that exciting. But so many people have her, and you never see her. I wonder why. If she was super good, you would see her all the time. But anyway, number 3. Number 2 on the list is Eva the Light Puree, and I know what you're going to say already. You're going to say, Bagel Math Plus Games was using that in his Necropolis B10 team. First off, number 1 is, this was a Hall of Heroes a long time ago. If this was an amazing unit, everyone would be using it all the time, everywhere by now. They're not. It's really nothing too crazy. The first skill has a double hit, strip beneficial effects. Second skill has a continuous damage. Third skill has I think it's Flurry of Strikes. I think it's 5 hits. It has 100% chance, 100% critical chance when the enemy is under inability effects. So, first off, Math Plus Games could use anything. Like, again, Math Plus Games could use anything because his runes are insane and he could do crazy things with anything. Second off, a lot of people are using Purees now in dungeons because Comptuous, if you guys don't already know, Comptuous AI is crap, right? Summoner's War AI is just garbage. The cool thing about the Purees, just Purees in general, is they will always do their skill 3, like if they have full HP, the AI will always do skill 3 first. So it's pretty consistent, as like you don't have to worry about like what's the AI gonna do. It's random. Like it'll actually do skill 3 if they have it. If they're full HP, it'll do skill 3. So that's the nice thing. People are abusing the Puree AI. It's not that the Purees are good, it's that you can abuse the Puree AI and it will do what you, if you want it to use skill 3, it's gonna do skill 3 as long as it has full HP. So that's kind of the thing that Math and a lot of other people, because he's not the only one doing it. There's a lot of other people using Julie, because Julie is really popular in dungeons right now, because as long as you can clear waves with Julie, as long as you have enough DPS, Julie's the water Puree, as long as you have enough DPS in the water Puree, she's always going to do skill 3, whereas like Lucian, you're not sure if he's going to do amputation magic or not, right? Galleon, you don't know if he's going to do time to loot, you don't know. But Julie will always do her skill 3 as long as she has a lot of HP, full HP. So that's why you see a lot of people using Julie now. The Purees just overall are going to use their skill 3s. Like they just have the AI thing of you can reliably know what they're going to do. So that's why the Purees are popular. Not that she's a good unit. Like you take her into anything else, it's like, oh, no. But the AI. So if Comptuous buffed the AI of just everything, and it's not even that hard. It's not even that hard to buff the AI. I don't know why they're not doing it. But that's the point. That's the point of why people are using Eva. Not that she's good, just because she's reliable AI. Aside from that, not really great. Plus Math Plus Games, again, could win anything with anything because his runes are ridiculous and better than everyone else's. Finally, number 1, Lewis, the Light Phantom Thief, the cream of the crap. Oh, Lewis. Okay, so what does Lewis do? First skill, he stuns. Second skill, he's got a speed break and a stun. Third skill, like this, the stun is not bad, right? Third skill is another gimmick skill. He's got his HP rebalance and invincibility. So what does the HP balance and invincibility do? It's kind of like a gimmick. You can stick it with what can you stick it with? You can stick it with the Light Lich. Some people stick it with the Light Lich because it activates the Light Lich's passive. Again, gimmick. You can stick it with Mo Long because Mo Long, this way he doesn't do damage to himself with skill 3, but really, I mean, you can protect squishies, but there's so much better stuff. Like, why wouldn't you just use Chloe? Why wouldn't you just use, like, why wouldn't you just use Chloe? This is kind of the same thing that happened with the Light Neo Student Agent. Is like, she just was not anything special. They buffed her. Maybe they'll buff Lewis one day. I mean, he's a really cool outfit. I feel bad for anyone named Lewis in real life, because then, like, they have to be associated with the Light Phantom Thief. It's a fate worse than death. But his outfit is really cool. He looks like a really cool unit. If I was able to use him, I would, because he's so cool looking. It's just he's not very effective. He's not very effective. He's not very effective. but he exists. So that's, I mean, cons, he's not very effective. Pros, he exists, and he's got a hat. So anyway, guys, that's it for this one. LD rips that you can get from, oh my god. Leave it in, you know what? Leave it in the comments. How many of these did you get? Did you complete the whole set? Did you gotta collect them all? Did you get like 2, 3, or did you get like 8, 9, 10? If you got them all, you are entitled to compensation. Go to your mom. Well, I'm assuming that everyone is a kid. Most people are playing the game are not kids. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. Call your mom up and say, Mom, I got all 10 LD rips. The 10 worst Nat 4's in the game. I am entitled to ice cream cake as compensation. Because you're entitled to ice cream cake as compensation. Even if you're lactose intolerant, I mean, you're entitled in compensation. You could just get the ice cream cake and then just like stick it in the freezer and look at it and be like, yeah, that's what I got. I earned that. I earned that for all my LD Ripperinos. Anyway, guys, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, leave in the comments how many LD rips you got on your account. Maybe some of them will get buffed, right? Maybe a couple of them will get you never know. A couple of them have already seen balance patches, but you never know what the future holds. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'll see you as always in the next one.